Hello, my friends. Today I'm doing my movie and book wrap up for February. Today I'm going to be sharing everything that I read and watched in the month of February. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The first movie I watched was Wake Up Dead Man, which is from the Knives Out franchise. This is the third installment in this franchise, and I quite enjoyed it. It's not my favorite one, but I found it very entertaining, and as always, it had such a great cast of characters. I also really liked the setting, the sort of moody, English sort of countryside. It was well acted and very entertaining. I then watched If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, which is nominated. I think Rose Byrne is nominated for Best Actress, and rightly so. This is one of the best female performances I've ever seen, and I'm not even joking. This movie is very anxiety inducing. It's sort of about a mum that has pretty much the weight of the world on her shoulders. Her daughter has special medical needs. Their roof falls in. Her husband is away. She is a psychologist with demanding patients. And basically, it just all reaches a boiling point for her. And I could really relate to this movie, and there were moments where I felt very attacked. I wouldn't say a whole lot happens, but it is worth it for her performance alone. And I hope she wins. I then saw Whistle at the cinemas, and this was just plain fun. I love cheesy popcorn horrors. I think there's absolutely a place for them. This is about a group of teens that discover an ancient Aztec death whistle, and if you blow on said whistle, your death will come for you. And yes, it was cheesy and it was corny and it was full of tropes, but it was fun. Some of the deaths were really creative, and they did not hold back in the gore department. This is a fun one to just chuck on with some friends. I then watched Roof Man, which came out last year. This is based on a fascinating true story. It's about a man who broke into several McDonald's by going through the roof, and then one day he's caught and imprisoned, and he escapes prison and hides out in a Toys R Us. And it's hard to believe that this really happened, but it did. At the same time that he was hiding out, he also formed a relationship and had to keep that life secret from her. And so, even though you sort of know where it's going and where it's going to end up, you're still gripping the edge of your seat and you just can't believe that this is a true story. I think Channing Tatum gave one of his best performances. I haven't seen a whole lot of movies with him in it, but this is definitely his best. I highly recommend checking this one out. It is fascinating. I then saw Wuthering Heights at the cinema, and I'm a big fan of the book. It's one of my favorite books of all time. However, I went in knowing that it was not going to be true to the book, and that's honestly the best way to go into it. If you're expecting a faithful adaptation, you will be disappointed. Instead, I would encourage just going into it to enjoy the cinematic experience, because this movie is beautifully shot and wonderful to look at. Every costume, every piece of jewelry, the wallpaper, the house design, the hills, the moors, gorgeous. And of course, Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi aren't too bad to look at themselves. I then watched Thelma, which was our movie club pick of the month. So, me, my mum, and sister have a movie club. I picked this month and I picked Thelma. This is about a 90-year-old woman who is scammed, and she travels not too far from home to get her money back. And I enjoyed this movie. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I still found it quite heartwarming. And I really appreciate the use of elderly actors in films. I think June Squibb was amazing. Doing this in her 90s is no mean feat. And who doesn't love a good revenge story? And then, yes, I went to see Scream 7. Now, I know there is a lot of controversy surrounding this movie. If you didn't know, Melissa Barrera was the lead in this film. However, she spoke out about Palestine and she was fired by Spyglass Entertainment. And from there, Jenna Ortega followed suit to support Melissa. And because of that, they had to rewrite this entire script, and it showed. This script was rushed, it was convoluted, it made no sense. And whilst I enjoyed the kills and the gore, and I really loved seeing Nev Campbell as a mother, this was not good. This is definitely the worst Scream movie in the franchise, and it has a whole lot to do with the controversy. I also thought the killer reveal was super lame, especially their motivation for killing. Whether you want to go see this movie or not is up to you. If you want to stream it, if you don't want to support it at all, that's fine. I don't shame anybody. This franchise has meant a lot to me, so there wasn't any world where I wasn't going to see it. However, I do not condone what Spyglass Entertainment did. In terms of TV shows, I finished The Creep Tapes season 2. This was much better than season one. I feel like with the Creep tapes, they sort of stick to the same formula and do the same thing over and over. And this season, they got a bit more creative, and I think they needed to do that in order to make it fresh and inventive. And so I had a much better time with this one. And now for all the books that I read this month. I read 3 books, which I'm very happy about. So, first book I read was Joyland by Stephen King. This is a crime novel. It's not so much a horror novel. And it's about a murder that took place at an amusement park called Joyland. And this new guy comes in and starts working there, and essentially he starts to put together who the murderer was. And honestly, at the beginning, I was like, I could take or leave this book. It's not that great, it's nothing groundbreaking. But at the end, I was sold because it was quite touching. There's a relationship that the main character forms with a mother and her disabled son, and that really got me. It made me very emotional, and I felt like it was such a nice touch to go with this book. I then read Better in Black by Cassandra Clare. So, Cassandra Clare is the writer of the Shadowhunter series. I have read every Shadowhunter book ever made. I've read every spin off, I've read them all. And this is a short story collection that is based on all the relationships in the book. So it's more for like a Valentine's read where you get to follow each couple and see what they're up to. And this is a precursor for her trilogy that's upcoming called The Wicked Powers. And finally, I finished reading Raising an Autistic Girl. And this is a nonfiction book, obviously, about raising an autistic girl from the ages of 5 to 11. My daughter is on the spectrum and she is 7, soon to be 8. So obviously, I want to educate myself as much as possible. I will admit that there were a lot of things in there that I already knew, and it is based off the American model of diagnosis, which doesn't suit me because I'm from Australia. But there were some helpful tips in there, and there were a couple of things that I didn't know. So, overall, I'm glad this book exists. And so, this is everything I watched and read in the month of February. March is going to be absolutely hectic for me. I'm going to be at the cinemas every single week. I will be seeing Ready or Not 2, The Bride, Cold Storage, They Will Kill You, and more. So, stay tuned. Please let me know everything you watched and read in the month of February.